Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Netters Network Thursday Things. I didn't almost say retro cinema this time. It's like I always have to. What day of the week is this?
Yes, exactly right.
Of course, you all know my favorite co-host. Well, he better be my favorite, right? After 31 years of marriage.
Well, maybe I just got to keep working on it if I'm not.
You know him as that guy at the end of the bar. Last call with Troy Pacelli. How you doing, sweetie? And what are you sipping on?
I am doing reasonably well, and tonight it's just water. My throat's a little bit tickly, so I am making sure I am hydrated tonight.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm drinking water as well because that's pretty much all I drink.
And if I'm not feeling better by tomorrow night, well, I'll just have to make sure that, I take something medicinal for my stream to make me feel better.
Would that be something like, I don't know, Kraken?
Kraken's a little sweet. I could go back to the single malt that I had last week. That would probably... hot toddy. I may make a hot toddy tomorrow night, depending on how I feel.
You do that. I don't like them because I don't like the alcohol.
Yeah, I know. But the alcohol is the alcohol and the honey and the lemon, that's what makes you feel better.
Okay, the honey, the lemon, that's all great. But the alcohol just turns my stomach. I don't see how it's supposed to be helpful. That's why it's like, no.
It's an acquired taste, and I enjoy acquiring it.
If you can make me a hot toddy without the toddy, then I'd be okay. Big Al says hot buttered rum. Do we have any rum?
Oh, you know what? I do
have it.
Last year I fat washed some white rum specifically to make hot buttered rum.
That might be a thing.
Maybe I will. Thanks for bringing that up.
I might be able to stomach that a little bit, little.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into too much more conversation, let me bring on our guest for tonight, Pacific414, also known as Mike. How you doing, Mike? And what are you sipping on?
I'm sipping on water, and I'm doing real good.
It's a water night, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, even the best of us, it's still the middle of the week. It's a school night or work night for us adults. So
yeah, it's still a school night.
Well, true.
I know we're going to be getting into some really great conversation in just a moment, but let me say hello to the chat. Ow, I just hit my hand against my desk.
Ouch. Careful.
Ooh.
Well, my ring took most of the blow, but still. So it looks like first up we have Big Al. Have a great stream, and hello to everyone. And of course we have Connie Cleary. I'm making sure she's saying hello to everybody because she's just amazing that way. And of course we have Leah Rose saying hello. Let's see, I know I saw other people's. Of course, this is my favorite comment. Oh, that wasn't the one I starred. That's weird to change. Oh, there we go. That's my favorite comment. Because, reasons. Let's see. We have Deleted Scenes. How you doing, sweetie?
Salute.
And of course, Evelyn Hampton. How you doing, Admiral?
Hopla.
Phil McCracken. I know I've seen you in a chat before, but I'm not sure if it's my chat or Troy's chat. But I know I've seen you in a chat before, so welcome.
Definitely see him around the communities.
Yes, he's a regular of mine. He's a good friend too.
Yes, he is.
Well, Phil, you are welcome anytime to come here and join us for Thursday Things or our Saturday night rewatches, either
Absolutely.
on my channel or Big Al's channel. And I believe this week is my week, or is it?
For the movie? Yeah, it's a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Crouching
but
Tiger.
But in fairness, Mike is probably looking to compete with Deleted Scenes for Mr. Busy on the YouTubes.
Deleted Sin says he's 23 subs away from 300.
Oh yeah,
So
if you guys can
all
help him out,
Yeah,
that would
make
be
sure that you
great
sub
to get
to
him
him.
over.
Share out his channel. Help boost him up there. And if you think you're sub to him,
Double check
because YouTube likes to unsubscribe people.
Yeah, I mean, it is not. I thought, because I hear all these YouTubers saying it all the time, I'm like, nah, no, it absolutely is true. And the bigger you are, the more likely you are to lose subs. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Double check.
We also have Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank.
No, yeah, we just got started, but always remember, you can just go slide that thing back to the beginning and listen to us on a faster speed to get caught up. I mean, it actually might be kind of funny to hear me sounding like a chipmunk.
Big Al, I want to clarify something. Connie was saying an early happy birthday to me, because my birthday is next week.
Yeah, so her birthday is technically not until next week, but...
Right, but she was wishing me an early happy birthday.
The kind wishes are always welcome.
Oh, of course, always fun. And in fact, let's see. If you really want to, because my birthday is next week, and you want to buy me a drink to help me celebrate.
She deserves it. She's married to me.
If you look in the comments below, of course I have my PayPal link, so you can, buy me a drink. It's the same link that we use for Troy to buy him a drink, only this one's going to be mine.
Yep.
You also have the opportunity on Saturday, because it's the closest day to my birthday that I'll be streaming on. So, yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I mean, people buy Troy drinks all the time. No one buys me one. And I figure it's my birthday, so, special occasion.
I would say that's absolutely fair.
Absolutely.
Yep, he can give me some more coconut rum.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually really like coconut rum. So, there you go. There's my favorite thing. Troy likes Kraken. I like coconut rum.
Someone mixed up an orange juice and coconut rum for her one time. She's like, hey, this is pretty good, so...
Yeah, so now it's like my favorite thing.
All right.
I think I hit
we're
the
caught
bottom of the list, so I am caught up. So, with that being said, let's turn our attention to our wonderful guest for tonight, Pacific414. So, my first question to you is, how did you get started? What made you want to start a channel?
Yeah.
Well, this all started back in 2018 when I started formulating an idea for doing a YouTube channel. And I had started watching Doomcock and Erotic and a few other channels at that time. And I got this crazy idea in my head saying, I could do that. And of course, at the time I was thinking, what do I want the channel to be about? Well, as you guys know from my appearance on Troy's show, not that long ago, I was a baseball fan, and I still am a baseball fan. And I thought, well, I could always recap a Chicago Cubs game or two and give my perspective on it from a fan's perspective. And one of the things I was thinking about was, do I want it to be scripted or do I want it to be unscripted? And I went for the latter because I still feel to this day that making it unscripted, it's more genuine.
Absolutely.
So it started off recapping Chicago Cub games starting in 2019 because I sat around thinking about it for a year, exactly what I wanted to do before I started doing the first recap with the box score, and then it expanded to doing movie reviews and episode reviews, and then a little bit of gameplay here and there, and then of course back in 2021, in August of 2021, I start doing Pop Talk, where I talk about pop culture, entertainment, and gaming news. And now it's gotten to the point where the baseball stuff has taken a back seat, and the reason for that was because of the price of the streaming package to even watch a game. If I wanted to watch all the teams, it would cost me $150.
Wow.
And if I just wanted to watch the Cubs, it would cost me $130. And
Jeez.
I thought to myself, I'm not paying that. I don't care how much I like baseball. I'm not paying that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Gosh,
So,
yeah, I can't even imagine. And I honestly don't even, not a big sports fan myself. I don't even know if there's a way to get around that. Like for everything else, we know how to get around it. If there's a movie we want to see, a streaming show that we want to see. I don't know about sports. Sports, something you could go to the high seas for?
you probably can. I just don't want to risk it. Because I look at it this way.
I
The
wouldn't even
moment
know
I
how
try-
for sports,
Yeah.
That's a different animal.
Yeah, completely different animal. And I think to myself, the moment I do it, well, then I'm going to get caught and I'm, pretty much up the creek without a paddle.
Oh, Lester San Jose said,
Yeah.
if you're into audio, there's, of course, internet radio stations and whatnot that pick up the games. But
Yeah.
that's not really the same, is it, if you're into
It-
the visuals?
It's not really the same, especially when it came to the box score and recapping all the games, because I would recap what I saw, and I would say, yeah, in this inning, this play happened where the ball went through the third baseman's glove and then allowed not just one run to score, but 2 runs to score. And then for some reason, the manager brings in this pitcher, and then everything just collapses.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you.
Yes, I can't remember the last time I saw a Cubs game any. Well, actually, yeah, I do. Way back in the day when I was an Andy Frayne crowd engineer, and I
Okay.
used to, have to stand in the stands and make sure people behave themselves and show them to their seats. That was fun. That was all of 16, 17.
Yep. But yeah, I've seen I've seen a lot of your movie reviews though. I saw you. I think one of your last ones was for Godzilla. You got one out for Napoleon. So yeah, films are still much more easily accessible these days. So far, for all the talk that we've done about the difficulties that cinema is having and so forth, at least for now, we still have fairly easy access to the movies. Any thoughts on that? Because I do feel like the industry has taken some pressure, let's say, since the virus of unknown origin. Any thoughts on that?
It really has, because with all these streaming services, it gives them the option to put the movies on the streaming service and have it in the theaters at the same time. I'm still a big supporter of going to the movie theater and seeing it on the big screen.
Yeah.
And getting that movie experience.
Yeah,
But
and
the
go
problem I've seen this year is that you had a lot of movies that were in the $200 to $300 budget range, and they're not making their money back.
and it really doesn't help when they're following the business model you just described of day and date release. You have your choice of seeing it on the streaming service or going to the movie theater, and then after it's done, it goes right into their streaming service, where the only people seeing it are the ones subscribing to their streaming service. It's we've talked about it on all of our channels for some time now, and it's just so crucial. It's like the industry has lost track of economics 101 and downstream revenue. Right? It used to be you release a movie at the theater, and at the bare minimum, you make your money back at the theater, right? You
Correct.
Whatever it costs to get it out there and to market it and pay everybody, you make it back at least in the first couple weeks at the theater. That was your primary revenue. Then when it left the theater, it would go to, well, it took a while for this to happen because I remember the days before we had a home media revenue stream. But when that became a thing, the next thing you were watching for was the release of the DVDs and the VHS back in the day. Now it's all the other various versions. Then the physical media came out and you made money on that. And that was always gravy because the cost for putting that stuff out is next to nothing. So that's just printing money. Then after it's been out for a little while, then you would put it onto a licensed stream, whether it's a cable channel or commercial television. You made the licensing money on it for a period of time, and then after you had exhausted all that revenue, then if you wanted to put it on a proprietary thing, and the one that comes to mind from back in the day was Disney. Disney used to put out a movie. It would do exactly what I just said. Immediately after it left the theaters, literally to the day, if the day was, this is the last day it's showing at the second run movie theater, that same day, Target and Walmart were starting to carry the DVDs. And that's assuming that there wasn't even pre-sales on them before that. So now it would go for about 6 months before you would then see it show up on, HBO, say.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but I can remember when HBO would be premiering whatever movie that they had licensed on that Saturday. It was like an event. It's like, this movie's going to be premiering at 8:00 tonight. I can't wait to see it.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, I have always thought that was more hype for HBO or the cable company than it was for the studio. But nonetheless, it's what you do for marketing, right? And after their license agreement was up, which was usually about 6 months or so, depending on what it was, then it would go to the Disney Channel as content. Then it was available there. But they've totally turned all of that on its ear. They put the cart in front of the horse, and now you're hearing about, these studios struggling and whatnot. And this is just a part of, we could go off on a whole other tangent about bad movies and, wokeism and all this kind of stuff. But that's secondary. It's the simple, economics that's really the fundamentals of it. But,
And not only that, now you're hearing places like Best Buy saying we're not going to carry physical releases anymore.
Which makes me wonder, that's almost like McDonald's saying we're going to stop, carrying burgers. I mean, it's like, what is your business going to be then? Because everything else, and it's killing. This is exactly how, this same kind of mentality. This is how Toys R Us went out of business. They had their brick and mortar stores. They started carrying less and less stuff. If you went to a Toys R Us looking for this toy or that toy, sorry, we don't have it. They had no way of looking and saying, you know what, the one in the town over's got some. I'll give them a call and have them hold it for you or whatever. No, they didn't have the ability to do that.
Which is kind of stupid.
And there was no online store for them either that you could do it yourself. You could just, say, send it to my house or send it to my nearby. And this is exactly why they ended up going out of business. Because when you have been counting on Toys R Us as your one-stop shop for toys, I think that might have been very close to what their marketing said, World's biggest toy store, right? Well, if I can't find it there, guess what? I can now go to Amazon, and I can go to Walmart, and I can go to whatever online. And then they ended up going out of business.
Jessica O'Hara said, are we going to talk about the McDonald's spin-off? Spin-off?
The what?
The McDonald's spin-off?
Yeah, they've spun off a new restaurant called Cosmix.
I've never heard of it.
I
Yeah,
guess it's
see, that's
based
going to
on
be hard to
some
talk about if we
character.
don't even know about it. That's a bad sign to begin with.
The way you see it, just put
Question mark?
question
Yeah,
mark, question
exactly.
mark. Like,
What were you?
what?
Tell us about it,
Sorry.
Mike. What do you know?
Well, a few weeks ago, we were looking to see if we could find a physical copy of the movie Dutch with Ed O'Neill. I
Sure.
don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh, sure,
And
sure. Mm.
and we looked on Amazon,
Yeah,
and some of the prices that they were asking for the physical copy, because it's currently out of print, were
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah.
50, 60, $100. Some people were asking for it's like $100. I'm not paying $100 for a movie. Yeah, I like it, but
Yeah.
I don't like it that much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and therein lies the whole marketing aspect. If you are a movie company and you own the rights to a piece of media, there should never be a reason for it to go out of print. See, what I ran into, this is something Aged Boomer kind of helped me out with. I was trying to pick up a bunch of the old Hammer films. Now, Hammer, the problem with Hammer was they had, in the United States, their distribution was all over the place. It wasn't one company, it was multiple companies. But when it went out when a particular film would go out of print, it would shoot up over $100 for a DVD. And I was like, man, I can't really justify that. And then Boomer pointed out, oh, but you can get the Blu-ray for, $20. That's why it's not available in DVD anymore. It's because the Blu-ray's out. And I'm like, oh, I'll just go get the Blu-ray then. No problem. See, that's not always the case, though. Sometimes they've never done a Blu-ray or, HD restoration or whatever. And for whatever reason, we have this whole market of companies that are doing it themselves. They're licensing to do it, but it's not being done by the studios. And it just boggles my mind. Why not? That is, again, money being left on the table by these studios. It's like these companies are afraid of making money or just don't care about making money.
It seems like it's the latter. They just don't care about making money anymore. And getting back to the price of MLB extra innings, it's like you guys are outpricing a lot of your current customer base,
Yeah.
including me, which made me think, okay, do I want to pay that price and continue covering Cub games that have the box score on the channel, or is it time to make a shift?
Yeah.
And I went for the latter. It's time to make a shift, focus on entertainment and gaming.
Well, and that kind of pricing your patrons out of the marketplace. I mean, look at Disney raising their prices on the parks. And I said, I made a comparison. I said, we're not making enough money in the parks, so let's raise the prices. I understand the initial thought, well, that'll raise revenue, right? But what it actually does is it drives people away, so you end up making less. John F. Kennedy talked about this when it came to taxes. He said, this is the irony that you think raising taxes would actually generate more tax revenue, but it doesn't, because what it does is it depresses the economy. There's less hiring, you start spending less money, so less people are making less money and less money to be taxed. And it's the same thing. You drive people away, by raising those costs, and you end up making less money. But a cynical person like myself would say, yeah, Disney, that socialist mentality, I see it. You see it in government, you see it in Disney. So no big shocker there. But
yeah, and MLB.TV tries to make it sound like, oh, but you can, listen to the games too. You can watch other team games. You can even watch the minor leagues. It's like, I'm not paying for this package to watch the minor league games. I'm paying for the package to watch the major league games.
Yeah.
I want to apologize to the chat. I've had this horrible cough, which now Troy has, and I can't seem to stop coughing. I'm trying to muffle it as much as possible, so I do apologize for me coughing.
I'm
I hope it's
sure
not disturbing y'all too
everybody
much.
I'm sure everybody has come to understand exactly how it goes. But no, absolutely right. And this is actually the way markets work, right? If you price people out, they will go elsewhere. And that brings us back to the main topic, which of course is you and us and YouTubing and channels and stuff. A lot of people are talking about, not only cutting the cable because they have streaming options, but even the streaming options people are eschewing and turning to things like YouTube. And there's a lot of people saying, a lot of people out there are critical of the entertainment, and they say, well, put your money where your mouth is, do it yourself. And a lot of people are. And that is the very interesting place that we find ourselves, because we've been saying for the longest time, Saturday Night Live and, the chat shows like The View and all that kind of stuff, and the late night shows like David Letterman and so on and so forth. People are getting sick of the tone deaf, one perspective views that no pun intended, that these shows are doing. So what's happening? People are taking to YouTube and pretty much doing it for themselves, right?
Yeah, you want to go watch a talk show? Well, tune into any number of YouTube channels, and you can watch a talk show. Pop Talk is an example of that. Tune in on a Sunday or on a Wednesday, and you'll hear us, ranting and having fun. And that's basically what Pop Talk is about. Yes, we're talking about pop culture and entertainment, some good, some bad, some ugly, but we're also trying to have fun while doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to talk about fun, that's exactly why the people tune in, right? That's always going to be, always the bottom line. Doesn't matter what your topic is. If you're having fun doing it, people will tune in. If you're, I remember when I was a kid, the McNeil Lehrer report. I've come to appreciate news, but I remember the McNeil Lehrer report putting me to sleep. It's like, if you're not having fun, who's watching?
Oh, if you really wanted to fall asleep, just watch Larry King.
Yeah, Larry King's another one that
I tried watching him once because I liked the guest.
Yeah.
And I was just like nodding off. It's like,
yes,
sorry, guest.
That is it.
Yeah.
He relied on the guests to bring people in, but he didn't have. I never felt he had the charisma and the entertainment chops to make the show work. And I kind of feel like, the industry is kind of seeing more and more and more of that. Which is why, I do think people are kind of gravitating to doing it for ourselves, and we live in a great time where the ability to do that is so much easier for so many people, and I think that is what is frustrating the big studios. This is why I think you're getting the uncensored. They're saying the quiet part out loud when they start saying, well, it's the fans' fault. They're toxic and they're this and that, the this and the phobes and the blah, 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 blah. Anyone who really understands business says, shut up, shut up, shut up. Stop saying that publicly. You can say that in the boardroom. You can say it behind closed doors. You can think it. You never, never, never say that for the audience to hear.
Once we hear it, we turn our backs to them.
Exactly.
Well, it's like, didn't somebody totally screw up in some sort of Disney public meeting, and they said a bunch of stuff they weren't supposed to, and it was kind of like, you weren't supposed to say that.
Actually, what you just said explains everything everyone at Disney has said for years now. That does not narrow it down. That is so
now, this one
absolutely
is
true.
I want to say it was either earlier this year or late last year. There was some meeting, and they're just talking about this, that, and the other, and it's kind of like, shut up! You're not supposed to say that.
Yeah, and it does seem to be their modus operandi. But honestly, it really is just and it's, you don't even have to know business. It's just logically understanding people. It's like, you insult people, you push them away. In business, you never want to push anyone away, which, yeah, I don't really understand how, I don't understand, but yeah, where was I going to go with this? Oh, yeah. So it's been about a little over a year since you and I hung out over on my channel. You want to fill us in on how the past year has treated you and what you've been doing? Anything different, growth, that sort of thing?
Well, sure. I mean, as far as Pop Talk is concerned, I used to have open panels each and every episode of Pop Talk. Then I brought it down to 2 open panels per month because I thought maybe having it every episode was just a little bit too much. And then it got to a point where a few things happened with some people who are on stream and off stream where I said, okay, I'm putting it down to 1 open panel per month on a Sunday. And on that open panel, I didn't want to do it, but I told myself, you got to do it.
Yeah.
I put in guidelines, rules.
Yeah.
This is what I expect everybody to do during the stream. If you don't follow any of the guidelines, strike 1, you get a verbal warning from me.
Yeah.
Strike 2, I'll mute you for 5 minutes. Strike 3, you're off the panel.
Yeah, I get it. That's the we've all been there, and that is to some degree the downside of exactly what I was just talking about, right? Yes. Yes, now we can create streams for ourselves. We can be the talk show hosts, right? The problem is that and this is correlational. This isn't causality, but you do end up with, hey, some people are completely inexperienced in performing arts or in the very nature of this sort of venue, and it's a learning curve, and so there is that, but the reason I say it's not causational, it's correlational, is because unfortunately I also see a lot of the professionalism and the like I said, the basic logic of doing any kind of show these days. I'm looking at the big companies and they don't understand it. They're screwing it up now. So it's like the institutional knowledge has been lost. So we have to identify that, and then in our own shows go, you know what? No, I'm going to be the, I don't know, the Dick Cavett or the, whatever, of
those old-time talk show hosts, huh?
You have to go back to that, right? Because
Phil Donahue, they're dating you.
Donahue, yeah, that's a great one too.
Oh, hold on a sec. I want to thank Connie Cleary for buying me a birthday drink. Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you, Connie. Yep, it'll definitely be a coconut rum, no doubt about it.
Well, not only that, another reason why I put the guidelines in there is because I will go through and select articles. Baron will go through and select articles for that Sunday's Pop Talk. Cash will go through and select an article or two for that Sunday's Pop Talk. And we want to keep the train moving.
Right.
We don't
exactly.
We don't want to sit on a topic too long, and we look at the time and go, okay, it's time to wrap up. And maybe we've only talked about one topic for hours on end.
Yeah. And, and the other thing that I was going to kind of lead into, which is when you have a panel of people, some more experienced than others, or some that just have the talent, naturally. Just one thing you and I have done here, right? We're having a conversation. Just like when you converse, sometimes I'll start to say something, you start to say something, and you just, sorry, go ahead. Not talking over each other, right? And that does become more challenging as you have more and more people on a stream. But I really do feel that there's a lot of people in the community that just don't understand the very basics of, not only do you have to be courteous and whatnot in that regard, in normal conversation, it's all the more crucial when you are in this kind of an environment, when you are broadcasting, because the audience is trying to listen to something, and they, I channels I like, when it starts to get cacophonous, I'm like, okay, I can't anymore. I'm out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's what's been so great about having Baron as a co-host on Pop Talk.
Yeah.
Because of his experience in radio, I've asked him for advice. Okay, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? From your perspective, from the radio perspective, tell it to me bluntly, Baron. Because
Yeah.
if I'm doing something wrong, I want to know,
Yeah.
so I can make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. I definitely have that relationship with Aged Boomer, for example. You know, we do that with each other all the time. And, you know, I mean, you know, I'm his co-host on Sundays. He's my co-host on Fridays, which is a great dynamic because you need somebody to kind of say objectively, yeah, you know, that one point in the show, that didn't work. We got to not do that again, you know. Or whatever.
Or if we're gonna do it, we better think it through first and try to smooth things out, try to iron things out so it works better next time.
Deleted scenes has it for sure. Prefer not to interrupt. On the other hand, if one side is lagging or on delay, it does happen. Yeah, we do have that issue. There are ways you start to learn to work around that. The harder problem is you see this less often, but it does happen. Some guests are not. Yes, sometimes guests just want to talk and they're talking over, and it's like you want to rein them in. Other guests are difficult to get out of their shell, and they will allow there to be empty air, right, where you have to pull them out and draw them out. But
You
that's
gotta coax them a little bit.
that is what we do, right? That is what a show like this is all about. If anything, I rely on my co-hosts to rein me in, because otherwise I'll just keep talking. But you know, anybody who's doing a chat show, I don't care if it's Dr. Marissa Pay or Donahue or us. You're doing it because you got a gift for gab, and so you always do have to kind of rein it in. Anonymous, hail, welcome, good to see you.
Anonymous.
Yes, he is absolutely right. Troy is a rambler. Yes, rambling. Remember that one?
Yeah.
You date. I clearly date myself. I'm sure that there's younger viewers going, "What the hell is this boomer talking about?"
But you know what? We have experience.
That was the other thing that I felt that, you know, people like yourself, me, and Age Boomer, deleted scenes. Not that we're really as old as we come off. You know, he calls himself Aged Boomer. He's actually younger than I am, and there's, you know, by the literal sense of the word boomer, I'm not a boomer either. My mother is a true baby boomer, right? But you know, we're older than some of the people in the community, and with age should come wisdom. We've seen things that you guys don't know about. We try to share it with you, especially these days, because so much of the entertainment you all are trying to take in is just remakes and rehashes of stuff that we loved as kids, and we're going, look, before you go see that remake, reboot, whatever, go see the original first.
Yep.
For one thing, you know, it'll give you a context, the context that we have, right? Number two, it's something for you to evaluate this new thing by. You know, it curls my toes how many people have never seen Star Trek before Discovery, and are like, yeah, this is okay. And it's like, yeah, well, you're kind of alone there. Because anyone who saw anything before that, not interested in this, you know?
Exactly. And, you know, it brings me to last night. Last night we had a watch party of the original RoboCop.
Yep.
Now, I'd seen the 2014 RoboCop.
Uh-huh.
And there's only one RoboCop movie to me, and that's the original.
Yep.
Because the original is perfect storytelling. You have the fall of Alex Murphy. Then he's
Yep.
resurrected as RoboCop,
Yep.
and he gets his vengeance at the end.
Yep. I feel like I didn't intend to get specifically on RoboCop, but since we're here, I have really pretty much seen every sequel. Okay, so whether it's the movie sequels, the TV stuff and whatnot, I honestly did not see that remake movie. I have no interest in it. But in all the sequels, I think the biggest problem that I saw was, and I see this with so many franchises, you got to ask yourself, why are you making a sequel to begin with, right? There needs to be a progression. There needs to be a story arc. And for Murphy, there was a lot of story that should have been followed up on. It looked like they started to try to do it with the second movie. It was implied that they were going to follow up on it in the series, but they never did it well enough focus for people to care about it. See, you got to remember, he's still got a wife and kid out there. You know, that's compelling story. Yes, he's reinvented himself. He is, you know, that last line from the first movie, I'm Murphy. You know, he's gotten his memories back. He knows who he is. That tragedy of not being able to reach out to his wife and say, I'm alive, I'm here, let me be a part of my kid's life. You know, that's something to explore. There's a bunch of different ways you could go with that. And they didn't. They just they got so focused on the next A plot that the crucial B plot is just ignored. It's storycraft, you know?
And that's true. And there's also something else that's true about the first RoboCop movie, is that it's a movie that could have stood on its own.
Yes.
Without any sequels.
Yes. And this is the paradox of the studio system. On the one hand, they're in it to make money, and so they are going to try and squeeze everything out of it that they can. And unfortunately, it's like the audience is like kids asking for candy. I want candy, I want candy, I want candy, I want candy. A good parent says, here's a piece of candy, okay? No more until after dinner, right?
Right.
Otherwise, you know, you get sick, you know, whatever. And there is that element to it. There has to be an adult in the room that says, no, this isn't sustainable. You're going to destroy your franchise. You don't do it unless there is a compelling reason to do it. And I've seen that with so many things. Right now, for example, deleted, and this is why my icon says "Welcome to Twin Peaks." Deleted scenes, and Netta and myself, we're revisiting Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks had 2 seasons and a movie, and nothing for 30 years. And then after 30 years, there was, I don't know what you call it these days.
Was it there that revival show?
Series, yeah, I don't know what you'd call it, but it was, it was very clear they were not going to do this unless there was a compelling reason to do it. And David Lynch and Mark Frost had a plan. They implemented, and they're done. They will come back and do more if they have a compelling story to tell. And Showtime wants them to make more, but they're not going to unless there is a reason to do it. Can you imagine if, I don't know, Lucasfilm said, okay, we told our 9 Star Wars movies, that's it until we have a really, really compelling story to tell, and then they held off? Can you imagine that? Yeah, I can't imagine Disney doing it.
I can't see Disney doing it, and I don't know how the fans would have been able to cope with that.
Yeah. And how many movies can you think of where you were like, you wanted a sequel to it, and the rights holder, the original writer, the original director say, no, it stands on its own, it's done. You know, Back to the Future's been putting off doing anything else with it because it's like, no, we did our trilogy. That's the story. Leave it alone. No, you don't remake it. No more sequels. You leave it alone. And the studios are pushing, and eventually it's going to happen. The dam is going to break.
Whether it's with Zemeckis and Gale or without them, it's going to happen.
Yep. And if it happens without them, you know it's going to be a cash grab POS. You know, and that's, you know, that's just inevitable. But that's just it. How many movies? There are so many movies that I can think of from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s that were one-shot films. And you're like, I could see a sequel to this, but I kind of don't want there to be. It stands perfectly fine on its own. The Last Starfighter, that comes to mind.
Yep.
Yeah, you could do a whole series of movies around that narrative universe. Doesn't need it. One movie, done. Move on now. Next movie. You know? This is why I think the entertainment industry ends up where it is. And they keep recycling the same stuff over and over again. Well, guess what? You're never going to have another Star Wars. You're never going to have another Star Trek. You're never going to have another... Because no one's making anything new.
Well,
that
look
stuff
at Doctor
started
Who,
somewhere.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So...
We did talk about how you got started and what made you start the channel. How'd you come up with your channel name?
Yeah, Pacific414.
That was basically related to a street I used to live on in California.
Oh.
There you go.
Because I didn't want my name to be tied to a particular sports team or franchise.
Sure.
And be boxed in.
I get it.
I thought, okay, it needs to be unique. It needs to stand on its own and be the kind of channel that over the years can evolve. And like I mentioned earlier with the pricing of MLB.TV, that forced me to make a change. But I will say, doing the channel has been fun. It's had its highs, it's had its lows. This year, I reached 537 subscribers. When I started, I thought I would only get 2. And another thing that happened this year in August was I got monetized. So now I can get super chats and memberships. And
there you go.
Although I will admit, one of my weak points is I don't push the memberships that much. Because I want people to know that from the heart, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because I enjoy doing it. It's the highlight of my day.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. I absolutely get you. So... On that note, what do you see? This isn't the what do you got coming up this week question. This is the what do you see from your channel? What are your longer term plans for like the next year and going forward?
Which was my next question.
Yeah.
Well, for the next year, I'm going to continue Pop Talk, and I'm going to continue what I started back in June, is having special guests.
Yeah.
On the channel. Yes, there were some special guests that I had earlier than June, but it was back in June where I decided, okay, we're going to one open panel per month, but I still want to have a special guest on each month if I can get somebody.
Sure. Absolutely. That one-on-one kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like this, it's nice. It really is.
Exactly.
But yeah, so then I guess that does bring us back to the previous question. What do you got coming up in the next week or so?
Well, in the next week, actually, besides the open panel that's coming up this Sunday at 1 p.m., next Wednesday, it's going to be a 2023 wrap-up of, entertainment and pop culture, what we've seen that was good, bad, and the ugly. And I've invited everyone who was a special guest on Pop Talk or part of a special Pop Talk broadcast where I invited you to come back. Just like I've invited you and Netter back and also Age Boomer back for next week's show. I created a group, and I've been trying to be good about giving everybody updates. Okay, this is what's going on, and then of course letting people know ideas that I have, what's going on
Right.
after it, like having a collector stream again next year. Those seem to be very popular when I've had the first three.
Yeah.
And I was asked by the Angry Canadian, "When are you going to have your next one?" I said, "I got to think about it because I don't want to keep having, you know, every couple months a collector stream. I want those to be a special event."
Sure. 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 Yeah, I hear you. Good. 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 Well, I'm glad to hear. Congratulations on the monetization. That is
Thank you.
the goal, the envy of all of us that are doing this. So
Absolutely.
good on you, and good luck, and I hope you're doing really, really well. Let's pull it back and look at everything that we know about coming up this week. So of course we're going into the weekend. So well, actually, before I get too far, not right after this, but in an hour or so, get yourself over to Deleted Scenes channel, because he's going to do his weekly wrap up where he is going to say everything that he's got coming up. And it's only supposed to be like a 15-minute show where he gives an update, but the more he's got going in a week, I think that show is going to start growing and growing and growing. And then I'm going to be on this and this and this and this and this, and that's tomorrow. And then on Saturday I'll be on this and this and this and this. I pick, but he is a busy guy. So Deleted Scenes later tonight for his weekly wrap up. Tomorrow night, Friday, I not having a special guest tomorrow night on Last Call, but I am going to be talking about the topic of something that Deleted Scenes has been talking about recently. We touched on it a little bit on Geeky Geezers last Sunday, and Dave Cullen has been doing a series of videos about this. We are in my opinion, the end game for a big culture shift that we kind of were talking about tonight. This shift in the way people are doing entertainment, and fans are literally just walking away from some of their favorite franchises because we all had this hope that well, if we give feedback and we withhold our money here but give our money there, we can affect the change that we want to see in our franchise. No, it doesn't work. Sometimes you just got to walk away, and just like your stupid kid brother who's got an addiction, you got to let him hit rock bottom. You've got to pull back because all you're doing is enabling the bad behavior. So I'm titling it "Let It Go." That's a very clear, intentional title, and that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow night. Saturday night, I know there's some stuff going on Saturday afternoon, and Deleted Scenes, I'm drawing a blank, so if you want to drop links and whatnot, by all means go right ahead. But Saturday night, 9 Central, 10 Eastern, watch party on Netter's Network, Retro Cinema of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which, Netter, are you saying you haven't seen that movie?
I haven't. I've seen maybe a scene or two, and that's it. I just know people jump and kick unnaturally weird.
Which
see, was mimicked in Shrek.
I know that we got the movie. I had gotten it for you because I knew this was a kind of movie you were going to like. I know you love those old, Jackie Chan films and the old Bruce Lee films and whatnot. This is a clear, loving homage to all of that. But, yeah, we haven't focused on it like we should. And so, yeah, we'll do that Saturday night. Sunday afternoon, over on Deleted Scenes channel, he does a joint stream with Jedi Bill, Western Cinema Presents. Then later that evening, that's 7 Central, 8 Eastern, Unscripted with Deleted Scenes. The 1 hour lead into Geeky Geezers on Aged Boomers channel, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. We bring you the weekly geek news that we found interesting. Some of it should overlap with some of your favorite other YouTubers, but we bet you we bring a very different perspective. And maybe some stuff you won't find anywhere else just because it's what we're interested in and nobody else was. So stop by and get that. Then later Sunday night, great way to wrap up your weekend is Deleted Scenes, The Other Side of Midnight. That's 11 Central, midnight Eastern. Great wind down to the weekend. And that brings us to, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, Tuesday, live from Sparkwood and 21, over on Deleted Scenes channel. Join Deleted Scenes, Netter, Age of Boomer, and myself, as we have just finished the first season of Twin Peaks. We will now be looking to Laura Palmer's Secret Diary. And we're looking for feedback. If you guys like the stream and want us to continue, we will go through the entire Laura Palmer Secret Diary. You can listen along with us. I've got a plan for the visuals on that. I'll be sharing that just like we do with the movies on Cosme. But if you don't, if the feedback is not so much, let's get back to watching episodes, let us know. We'll truncate it down to one stream where we kind of summarize the important points from it, and we'll move on. Let us know. And that brings us around to next week, Netter of Netter's Network. Who are we going to be talking to next week?
Next week on my channel, we will be watching. We're going to be watching.
Well, kinda.
Disney Sheepherder.
Oh, Disney Sheepherder is going to come back and tell us his story of woe. Yeah, he was on more recently. We usually, have a longer span between bringing a guest back, but he almost immediately after he was last on Netter's Network,
he disappeared.
He disappeared and hit a glitch, and there's a story there. And we've all been looking forward to it. So he's going to come back and tell us what the heck happened. It is, it's an interesting story.
Yes.
You have to tune in
all
next
right,
week to hear about
I'll
it.
be sure to
Disney-
tune in.
Yeah.
With Disney Sheepherder being next week, I'm all out of guests.
Yeah,
so
guys.
if anyone is interested in being on my channel for Thursday Things, the only requirements are that you have your own YouTube channel that you are trying to grow, and that the content is your content, not like a bunch of videos wherever of things that you like.
Be surprised
but
how many people are
Yeah.
doing that. It's crazy.
But it's actually your content. I'm happy to have you on. I think I added in the description. I'm double checking now.
She should have her contact information to X Twitter, direct
it's like,
direct
I have my
messages.
Twitter on there. I thought I also added in my email. Oh no, that's for the prize.
If
draw.
not, the email is
No,
of
something
course on
here.
the About tab.
I
So,
am going to put in my email address.
or you could just wait a second and she'll drop it into the chat. But definitely reach out to Netter directly. And there's the Vagrancy Horror. Good evening, all. Just checking in to say hi. Returning guests. Great channel. Was just hanging out with him last night as he was talking about the history of the folklore of fairies. Very, very interesting. Which, ironically, the chat often got him off topic as we started talking about werewolves and St. Patrick and the snakes and every other thing but the fairies. But there we go. So, and there's Netter's Yahoo email. That's a great way to get in touch with her. If you want us to have you on and talk about your channel, let's do that, because as PJ of Orville Nation always says, together we grow, and our goal is to grow this community. There is no we are in a post-competition era now. you can watch all these. If you can't watch us live, you can watch us Memorex.
Mm-hmm.
So it does not, you know, if Pacific 414 goes live at the same time that Last Call is on, just pick whichever one you actually want to be in the chat on, and then go back and watch the other one the next day.
Go back and forth, because I've done.
Or go back and if you're crazy. Yeah, you crazy guys, you and Deleted Scenes and Netter and Lady Myst have like 5 tabs open and you're commenting in all of them.
If you want to be a guest on Thursday Things and you send me an email, please put in the subject line Thursday Things, because if I don't recognize the name, I'll think it's junk mail and I'll just delete it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because I get a lot of spam mail that I have to slog through.
Okay.
So make sure you put Thursday Things in the description. In the subject line, and this way I know that you're interested in being a guest.
And that's all I got, Netter. I'm done.
Okay. Anything else for you, Mike?
Well, I do want to say that tomorrow on Cash's channel, the Phantom Hooligans, I believe it's starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. He, Baron, and I will be playing the game Darktide. It's a Warhammer 40k game.
Huh.
And it's going to be our first time playing it. And then on Saturday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, it'll be part 3 of our Season 3 talk of Babylon 5.
Oh, right. Yes. Good stuff.
Yep.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, y'all know what I always say.
Yes, ma'am.
And hopefully I can get through this without having another coughing fit. We can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well, good, and fun. But it is so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat, and you're dropping your comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room, enjoying each other's company and having a great time. And you guys aren't just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys, and we appreciate you so very much. Thank you so very much for being here, because you can be anywhere right now, and you chose to be here. That's so encouraging. Make sure that you are subbed to me, Troy, and I almost said Vigrancy Horror because I was looking at the name.
Well,
me,
him
Troy,
too,
yes,
but, you know.
I'm getting there. Me, Troy, and Pacific414, as well as everyone in the chat. And if you think that you're subscribed to them, just double check, because YouTube likes to unsubscribe people. And that's kind of sucky on them. With that said, everyone have a really wonderful evening, and we will definitely see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.